El Salvador achieved independence from Spain in 1821 and from the Central American Federation in 1839. A 12-year civil war, which cost about 75,000 lives, was brought to a close in 1992 when the government and leftist rebels signed a treaty that provided for military and political reforms. El Salvador, according to the CIA World Factbook, is beset by one of the world's highest homicide rates and pervasive criminal gangs. Nayib Bukele.
Nayib Bukele.
Oh, president of El Salvador, a populist, has been criticized for governing in an authoritarian manner. In particular, he was denounced for sending soldiers into the Legislative Assembly to encourage the passage of a bill and allegedly to overthrow the Legislative Assembly of El Salvador. This action, his handling of endemic violence in El Salvador, and his strict response to the COVID-19 pandemic have led some academics to describe him as an autocrat or as an authoritarian. Transparency International cited El Salvador and Colombia as examples of an explosion of irregularities and corruption cases related to the handling of the pandemic in Latin America. 20 government institutions of the Bukele administration were under investigation by the Attorney General's office until, in May 2021, Bukele led a parliamentary move to fire the Attorney General and multiple Supreme Court judges of El Salvador, which has been characterized as a self-coup and has sparked fears of democratic backsliding and a power grab. Nayib Bukele.
Nayib Bukele.
Meanwhile, back to Bitcoin, El Salvador becomes the first country to adopt Bitcoin as legal tender after passing a law, which sounds like it would be very difficult to pass in El Salvador. Lawmakers in the Central American country's Congress voted by a supermajority in favor of the new Bitcoin law. Bitcoin will officially be legal tender, accepted in all shops. The government has even described a service where perhaps you could cash out your Bitcoins or Satoshis for dollars. The current currency of El Salvador is the US dollar. They are now adding Bitcoin as an additional option of legal tender. They also want to use electricity generated from volcanoes to mine Bitcoin. But that's neither here nor there. Dan Eve, the crypto raptor, El Salvador becomes the first country to accept Bitcoin as legal tender. Is this good for Bitcoin? Is this good for El Salvador?
Well, I was really pumped until you read out the wiki notes, and now I'm like, oh, so he's you know, obviously he sounds like he's pushed it through, you know, nudged it through a bit, but at the end of the day, you know, he you know, there may be all of the hoo-ha around about the guy himself and about the coup and stuff, but the fact is that, you know, it's a perfect kind of almost test bed with 70% not of the inhabitants not being integrated into financial services. It's kind of a really good example, or an example, a test run of how a country could integrate Bitcoin. The fact is that there's, you know, no cap gains, is they've said in the articles of law. They also said that you must accept Bitcoin unless you don't have the like the technology to do so. So I suppose it could be gamed, because people could say, I don't have a computer to accept it, even if they did, or something like that. I don't know if they were kind of really that much against Bitcoin. But ultimately, I think the fact that it's now foreign, you know, it's now considered foreign exchange. The fact that there's no capital gains, hopefully that, you know, that happens in the rest of the world as well, and it's not considered as like you know, goods. It's considered forex, and therefore, you know, there's no cap gains on it. I think that's a kind of a good way of going around it, because the idea of Bitcoin was a currency initially, and this is following that kind of you know, the path of Bitcoin as a currency. I think it's also cool about doing the volcano. So they've obviously cottoned onto the fact that the volcano. There's a lot of talk about Bitcoin not being environmentally friendly. So having volcanoes produce mining electricity or electricity for mining, I think is good. But yeah, I think it sounds cool. Like the fact, Jack Mallers obviously out there with Strike, trying to set up the infrastructure. And that was kind of really, really cool to read, right? It's not like El Salvador wants to set up. It doesn't have its own currency. It's using the US dollar, and it's going to set up a new currency. And it's not like JP Morgan setting it up. It's Jack Mallers and Strike. I think that's the kind of cool takeaway. Is that the technology now supersedes the existing infrastructure that everyone's grown to love, because everyone loves banking in the traditional financial institution. So yeah, maybe hopefully it goes well, because this could really pave the way for a rollout for the rest of the world. But we'll see.
We forgot to mention in the intro that Jack Mallers of Strike, friend of the show, was largely behind the initiative, giving an incredible announcement of it at the Bitcoin 2021 conference. Congratulations, Jack. A positive thing, regardless of anything critical we might say of El Salvador. Josh Shigala, your thoughts and your chance to say something critical about El Salvador.
No, look, no taxes on BTC. That's pretty good. Tax hell shit for any sort of shit coins. And foreign income. So that's kind of shitty, because, what's with the taxes? This is one of the most dangerous places in the world. So that's kind of a no-go. Residency for 3 Bitcoin. You get a resident. I mean, it's a bit steep. It's a bit steep. Bunch of guys with power drills ready to extract your seeds upon arrival. That's always a bit dangerous. Let's have a look at Paraguay. A lovely beach, but for that you get no tax on Bitcoin, shitcoins, or foreign income. It's pretty cool. Your residency for 0.1737 BTC. I don't know where they got that number from. That's a pretty fun number though. It's easy to get. Driver's license are included. And low crime and high quality of life. So, you make the choice. What do you want? Paraguay. But look, it's funny because a lot of people got into Bitcoin early. The early Bitcoiners were very ethically minded, all about the moral reason for holding it. A lot of it was technical as well. A lot of people were very technical and obsessed with the technology. But since you can really see the moon boys and girls coming in and they just want moon, whatever. So like, full on fierce dictator takes it. Yeah, moon. Oh, Elon's pumping it. Moon. Elon's hating it. Kill him. Like, it's a total, like, just all morals get thrown out the window. And this is unfortunate. It's unfortunate. But the fact of the matter is, Bitcoin is the honey badger. It doesn't give a shit what you are. I don't think countries need to take Bitcoin. Like, anyone in that country could take Bitcoin. The fact is that they make it tax-free, and they sort of put a gun to your head saying you have to take this if you can. Weird thing. But that also doesn't sit right with me. Well, you don't have to take anything. I mean, a trade should be a voluntary action between 2 people, and you have a medium of exchange that sits in the middle. Look, I'm as happy as the next guy that there's news of more adoption, but I don't think we need to, go screaming through the streets saying this is the best thing ever, because, quite frankly, this guy sounds like a douche.